16,000 police officers will patrol the streets of London Wednesday night in a bid to prevent more violence. Well, for more on the situation, we're now joined live by investigative journalist Tony Gosling, who joins us from Bristol. Thanks for being with us. Many believe the riots are no longer about the killing of Mark Duggan. What are they about at this point?
Well, I think, isn't it after 4 nights of rioting? It's nice to see the Prime Minister finally back in the country. And I think actually what this is about is far deeper than just this one killing last Thursday. It's about a crisis of leadership in this country. We've got a Prime Minister that doesn't really connect with the people. A lot of the policies he's implementing are actually dictated to him by the banks, and he's lost touch with ordinary people. There's also a crisis at the Metropolitan Police. We had Sir Paul Stephenson, who was a very well-respected leader of the Metropolitan Police, had to resign recently, and there seems to be like a rudderless ship that the police are at. So we're also confronted with this whole generation of young people, many of whom voted for the first time in the general election last year for Liberal Democrats, a lot of them, and they've all been betrayed. They all feel angry. So there's a simmering anger under the surface. But this killing of Mark Duggan last week clearly was the spark, and it's not the only death of an ethnic minority that the police have actually been responsible for. So, you know, we've had something like 340 deaths, mostly of ethnic minorities, in police custody over the last 12 years. Now, that's around about 1 a month, without a single conviction of a police officer. So this seems to me is a message that this particular killing last Thursday is not going to go unanswered. And it was also absolutely disgusting. The police, Metropolitan Police, and this is what I'm talking about, the crisis of leadership, their response to that killing. Basically just ignoring the family's pleas to have some explanation. We've also heard now that there was lies told on the day to the press about who had fired the first shot, and it also seems that a dum-dum bullet was used to kill Mark Duggan. A one shot to the chest, we're told. So the lies that were told on the day just make things worse. So this is very irresponsible behaviour by the police, and I think we need to see a wholesale re-examination of the way that we investigate these various kinds of death, either in custody or as people are being arrested, because it starts to look like there's some kind of shoot-to-kill policy out there.
With that said, how do you see the situation developing in the coming days?
Well, I think unless there's decisive leadership and decisive action from the Prime Minister, from the government, which frankly, I mean, he's doing some soul-searching right now, I imagine, David Cameron, but will he find his soul? This is the question. Unless there is some kind of decisive action, this is likely to continue to sort of bubble along. But I don't see that decisive action happening. I think what we need, first of all, is for Cameron to recall the very well-respected policeman who resigned, Paul Stephenson, somebody who's well-respected and very experienced, to run the Metropolitan Police now and to give them a boost in morale. And we also need to know the names of the police officers and the firearms people who shot Mark Duggan. And we also, well, I would say, as a society, it would be nice to see that that officer who fired that fatal shot arrested, and that would give a lot of confidence that the police are not above the law, because that's what many of these young people are saying. I'm not excusing the violence and the burning. Of course, that's criminal behaviour which should be punished. But you have to understand that there are big reasons for this, and that have been going on for many years, and particularly the mistreatment of ethnic minorities by the police, both in custody and by the rather ruthless way they seem to arrest them.
The UK is spending billions supporting NATO missions in Afghanistan and Libya, but it's cutting social programs back home. Do you think London is spending its money wisely here?
Well, look, Anissa, that is the backdrop to all of this, which is this is a kind of an IMF riot, the sort of thing that we used to see back in the 1990s and 80s in third world countries. That kind of thing is now coming home, because this is the backdrop to all of this is the austerity measures, particularly the way that the youth have been completely sold out. Most of these people who are out on the streets really feel there's no future for them. They've been spending a lot of their time doing things like playing video games, and they can't see a future for them in Conservative Britain. So there's going to have to be a lot of soul-searching within the government, and also there's going to have to be some kind of answer given for these young people. I suspect the Conservative response is going to be to come up with something like national service, but that's not what these young people need. They need a future, they need jobs, and that's what we need to have from the government, is decisive action against the banks to actually take back control of our economy.
All right, investigative journalist Tony Gosling on the line with us live from Bristol. Thanks for that.